Welcome everybody to episode 53 of the Northstar podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be going into the 10 metrics to predict your future health. And we're going to be breaking down stuff that predicts longevity, recovery, and performance, and the same ones we use to track for ourselves and our clients. So to start off, the first metric that we want to get into is our HRV, which is our heart rate variability. And basically what this does is that it measures your balance between your sympathetic as well as your parasympathetic systems. I like to think of sympathetic as in your fight or flight versus your parasympathetic is your rest and digest, where it goes more to recovery for your parasympathetic and your sympathetic is more about your stress. Why it matters is because if you have a very high HRV, it's going to lead to better recovery. It's going to lead to you adapting better to your workouts and just more resilience. And why or how to actually improve this, you're going to want to focus on your sleep, hydration, stuff like breath work and doing breathing patterns. Those will help a lot. Consistent training, as well as managing your stress with activities that help you wind down. And if you didn't listen to our last episode, you can even check that because we dropped some nuggets in there. And the way I like to think of it is harder to track your HRV, but if you can build a habit of tracking it and you notice that it's dropping quite a bit, it means that you're probably either overtraining, undersleeping, or overthinking. So as long as you're not doing 3 of those, you should be having a pretty healthy heart rate variability.
Yeah, and some ways to track it, like you said, you could use like some watches,
Yes.
I have an Aura ring, so that also tracks it. But also too, I think the thing too, before we get into like all the other stuff too, a lot of this comes down to genetics.
Yes.
Right? Like, so you might genetically just have a lower HRV. Doesn't mean you're not, recovering well or you're not doing these things. Some people just tend to have it. Some medications affect your heart rate variability. Some medications affect your resting heart rate, which I'll go into as well. But your resting heart rate is just the measured baseline of your cardiovascular efficiency. Most times if you have a lower resting heart rate, you have better recovery, overall stronger heart. But again, comes down to genetics.
Yes.
There's, rough estimate I would say is like 45 to 65 resting heart rate.
Yep.
Some people will be in 70s, 80s. Doesn't mean you're unhealthy. If you take a medication that increases your heart rate, that could also be affecting it.
If you like caffeine, I'm pretty sure too, right?
Caffeine, too much stimulants can.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you got to be really careful on how you
demonize it.
Yeah, and also too, it's not the end all be all of everything, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of times when somebody starts measuring these things, they're like, well, I have to get it to this or I'm not healthy. Well, again, there's a balance between it. If you are feeling things that you're not feeling good or you're, going down a path where you haven't looked at these things and you see that they're on the lower end or the higher end for the heart rate and then higher or lower end on the HRV, then you can kind of see, okay, well, if I do these things, do these improve, right? If I do these things and they don't improve, but I feel better, doesn't mean that you're still going in the wrong direction. Just means that it could be something that your body takes time to adapt or your genetics play a role into it as well.
Yeah,
so
100%, I agree. As for our next metric, we're going to be going into insulin and fasting your insulin. What this is with insulin, a lot of you guys probably have heard of insulin. It just indicates how efficiently your body uses carbs to regulate your sugar. So why it's going to matter is if you're someone who has chronically high insulin, there's a chance that you're going to hold on to more fat. You're going to have more fat storage. You're going to have more fatigue and more cravings. So I don't want to say too many numbers on this, but a typical range or a goal would be around 10, I guess. Let's forget what this sign says, the U one. What does the U stand for? That?
Oh, it's just a measurement of how you
U per milliliter. I mean, the best thing to do is like your blood work, just getting your blood work done and just getting a good indicator from that. And when it comes
blood work's going to be probably the best
thing.
The best thing that you're going to see for your insulin for sure.
And there's stuff that can help with it too. Like we mentioned with our peptide playbook series about like stuff that can affect your insulin. GLPs, that's a big one. And main thing besides using those to improve it is strength training will help a lot. Balanced carbs, making sure, just the basics, right? Just making sure you're getting an adequate amount of sleep, and controlling your stress.
Yeah, you balanced meals, right? And
that too as
having
well.
fiber and protein and fats in a meal instead of, depending on what the goal is. But, if you're someone who's just about to have a workout and you just have carbs before and you're going to go utilize that energy, it's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, everyone plays also a different role with their insulin. Mm-hmm. Some people are just more prone to have a higher fasting insulin as well.
Yeah.
And again, it can come down to your diet as well, or if you have holding more body fat. There's a lot of different things that play a role, right? So, next one here is your triglyceride to HDL ratio. So this is just a better understanding of disease risk than total cholesterol. Ratio 2-to-1, triglycerides divided by HDL. How to improve it? Omega-3s, strength training, less sugar, alcohol, more fiber. I think also too, just, when you tend to lose body fat, like say you have excess body fat. And again, I think there's a misconception about excess body fat. Just because you want to lose 50 pounds doesn't mean that 50 pounds of that will be body fat, right? When you lose weight, it is not always just fat that you're losing. So what tends to happen is when I start to see people lose body fat, they tend to have better blood markers in general.
Yes.
But also too, medications and if you're on testosterone replacement therapy and all these other things can affect HDL and LDL depending on the individual. But again, the best way to know this is to get blood work. I premise that I'm someone who gets blood work every month.
Oh, you do it every month? Okay.
I do every month. I get blood work every month. Every 3 months, I get a full panel of everything. So for the 3 months that I'm just doing the low, I look at, iron levels, your red blood cell count, those things. And then I get a full checkup when it comes to the 3, but I do blood tests regularly. So yeah.
As you should. You brought up TRT and testosterone. That's our next one, testosterone and estrogen balance. So a lot of you guys know testosterone, estrogen, the main hormones that people indicate with men and women. It's the key hormones for controlling your muscle as well as your mood. That plays a really big thing. Mood and energy and recovery. Why it matters is that you want to balance. A lot of people I find that a lot of people say, I just want high testosterone, but they don't understand it usually is a balance with your estrogen as well for both men and women. You want to be in the optimal range. And then nowadays with society, I feel like people's testosterone is lower than what it used to be. I've seen some studies about that. So how to improve it? Working out is going to play a big thing. Fit some strength training, sleep, another really vital thing for your testosterone. Supplements that you could look into are possibly zinc as well as vitamin D3. Mentioned resistance training as well, and just managing your stress. That would be a really big thing. Always with all of these. And like you said about your blood work, try to get it checked out because especially if you're finding that you're really moody and you're just tired or you're not recovering from your workouts, it's really good to just get those indicators, get checked out, and see if that's another option, right? If you want to do something.
Yeah, with TRT, you got to be really careful with when you start it, if you're someone who is, because what tends to happen is when you increase your testosterone, your estrogen levels will go higher as well.
Yes.
The things that I've seen to really work for people that are taking TRT is taking a lower dose more frequently.
Yep.
I've even seen taking 10 to, let's say your dose is 100 milligrams per week, let's say. Instead of taking 100 milligrams on Monday and then go again on Monday, you take 15 milligrams every single day of testosterone. Because what's happening is it's a little kind of jump and then it goes like this, where if you do a high dose, you go really high and then you get a really big crash.
Yes.
And that's how estrogen will also increase as well. And what you said about estrogen, a lot of times the misconception with males is they think estrogen is really bad.
Yeah.
Excessive estrogen is really bad, but too low of estrogen is also bad.
Yes.
You want to have a little bit of estrogen. It will help with recovery. It will help with joint pain is a really big one as well. If you have a ton of joint pain and you're on TRT, most likely your estrogen is probably low. You actually want a little bit higher. So if you're taking an estrogen blocker, that's something also too that you got to be aware of. If you can, I don't like to see someone on an estrogen blocker for too long. If you have to do it to balance things out at first until you find your dosage, okay. But if you're taking it consistently, they're not the best for your health long term as well. They can be used in a short term. I've seen also some conflicting things on certain steroids that actually balance out the estrogen as well. So primobolan is one that at a lower dose can help actually manage estrogen. So a lot of times what people I've seen is when they're TRT, they take a very, very low dose of Primo, and that will actually balance it out instead of the estrogen blocker. They'd rather take a little bit of Primo than rather take an estrogen blocker, depending on health. But again, these are just things that I've seen. I'm not saying this is what you have to do. Obviously, do your research, know what you're doing, talk to your doctors. But these are just some things I've seen throughout the space and seen what people have done. But like I said, I've seen people benefit a little bit better on doing more doses more frequently of lower dose of because it's your natural product. If you if you inject 100 milligrams of testosterone, that's not natural. Like you never get those spikes in your normal natural self. And I think a lot more people are starting to see that because TRT is becoming a lot more popular.
Yes.
But I think lower, more frequent dosages will help balance things out a little bit better too. So.
Next one?
So next one here is going to be sleep. I think the big thing here is with sleep, there's a difference between sleep and sleep quality.
Yes.
So you can get 8 hours of sleep, but if it's not quality sleep, then it's not that it's useless. I just mean like it's not the same. So ways, again, you can measure sleep is watch, wearables. It'll tell you your REM sleep. Percentage of this happens. I actually am someone who doesn't get a ton of REM sleep, and this is what I'm trying to improve. It's not that I don't get any, but when I do have my Oura Ring, it does tell me my REM sleep is usually on the lower side. This can also come down to genetics and just things like we've already said. But
patterns, routines can help.
Yeah, also just like how busy you are if you're someone. Yeah, so what I try to do is I at least try to, aim for at least 40 minutes, but that's even on the low end. They usually say upwards to an hour of REM, at least an hour-ish plus of deep, and then the rest will be what you quote as light sleep. Again, the ways to measure it are wearables. You don't really, I guess you can go by feeling. Like you can probably wake up one day and be like, oh, I feel a lot better on this 8 hour sleep than the other night 8 hours sleep, but that also just doesn't tell you the full picture.
Yeah, I feel like with that you kind of have to reverse engineer it. Like you have to first of all log it in a way. Like it leads to more steps versus if nowadays with technology being so smart, it's like might as well just invest into a wearable that you can just have it ready on your phone versus trying to calculate every little detail. I slept for this many hours, I felt this good. You can't do it, but
it's just a lot more work. Ways to improve: no screen 60 minutes before bed, consider bedtime, cool dark room.
Do you mention red light therapy? I remember a couple episodes before. I think I've heard something about red light therapy with sleep. Have you heard about that?
It can't, I think, I haven't heard too much about it. I'll have to look into it, but I know red light in general tends to help individuals with recovery. That goes really in depth.
But
I would say start with more of the basics first.
Basics will lead to more
I think the big one is the no screens. I'm not the best at this all the time. I have blue light blocking glasses, but I would say that's probably where my downfall is. The reason is just how my schedule is I tend to not have much chill time when I get home because I work later. So I tend to, that's when I watch TV downtown, or chill or whatever. So I do I do have leniency on that for myself, but I do try to at least be in bed and have at least 7 to 9 hours depending on the day. So
next thing we want to talk about, my fellow kinesiology students, you will like this a lot, but grip strength and our VO2 max. So in kinesiology, they basically go into how some of the best predictors when it comes to your long-term health and mortality risk. The reason is when it comes to grip strength, it basically reflects your overall strength as well as muscle function, versus the VO2 max will reflect your cardiovascular capacity and longevity. So how you improve this, it's mainly more into the training aspect of things. Yes, when you do eat gooder, cleaner foods, you're getting enough omega-3s, it's going to help with your cardiovascular. But strength training, like we said, doesn't have to be 7 days in the gym. It could be 2 times, full body, 4 times a week, whatever you can, get in. And zone 1, zone 2 cardio training, cardio sessions Those will help quite a bit. You can track it with Apple Watches, Garmin's, rings. There's so much technology. I heard of it, the Beats and the new AirPods. They even track it with the headphones. So if you wear the headphones, there's probably more side effects with that. It's like I've heard, but yeah, it's so easy to track nowadays. And yeah, I like to think of if you have a good grip strength. Think of it like this too. It's like you're lifting weights all the time. If you're someone who's frequently training, your grip strength is a really big thing because you're always going to use your hands when you're lifting weights. So training your grip, training your forearms from a guy who's broken his wrist multiple times, I know the struggle of having bad wrists and how it can affect everything from driving to eating food to writing a piece of paper. Like if you work on your wrist health, your grip strength, and your lungs are strong, you're just going to age well. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit of DHEA and vitamin D, back to back, but I'll start with DHEA. It's more based on your stress and longevity hormones. DHEA it's what it means. It's produced by the adrenals, balanced cortisol, supports hormone immune function. Why it matters? Because if you have low DHEA, you can have more stress, burnout, accelerated aging. How to improve it, rest, adaptogens. So adaptogens, ashwagandha, Zoan.
Yes.
Good fats, resistance training, recovery blocks. You can also take DHEA. You can actually physically take DHEA, the DHEA itself. Yep. Again, if you don't know if you have low or high, you have to do blood work.
Yes.
That's how you got to do it.
Step one.
So I know that's one that most people don't know much about, but again, that's going to come down to blood work and knowing, and then if you need to, those are some ways to increase it if it's too low. And then going on to vitamin D, it's a fat soluble vitamin, so to remember or what a fat soluble vitamin means, it's better absorbed with fats. So when you take a supplement that is fat soluble, then I would always recommend having it with a fat source: avocado, almond butter, peanut butter, eggs, whatever it is. Also,
fats.
Yeah, just fats in general. Also, when it comes down to fat solubles and knowing what fat solubles are, I like to have the analogy of fat K'd. So K is vitamin K,
Yep.
A is vitamin A, D is vitamin D, E is vitamin E. Those are all fat solubles. Yeah. So that's how I remember.
I'll show you that for my exam.
Yeah, and then water soluble. It's really easy. We live in British Columbia, BC. B vitamins, and there's a lot of water. There's a lot of lakes, oceans, whatever nearby. Right. That's how I remember.
Okay.
For water soluble. Vitamin D levels, especially around this time of the year when it comes down to, November, December time, you want to make sure that your vitamin D levels are a little bit on the higher end. So this is where some people tend to supplement more because there's not as much sun,
outdoors, are getting sick.
There's more, it can lead to, if you're someone who gets sick often in the winter months, probably because your vitamin D levels are lower. Again, to know what your vitamin D levels are, you need a blood test.
Yes.
In Canada, it's actually harder to get a vitamin D test. Usually a specialist has to recommend it.
Yep.
I don't think, there's some places you can actually purchase it, but purchase the blood test.
Yep.
But a lot of times it comes down to a specialist having to do it, and then you have to pay for it yourself. But yeah, at the end of the day, supplementation can help, sunlight. Sometimes again, being careful with this, but sometimes tanning beds, getting a little bit of vitamin D, but lower levels of it, right? You don't want to be exposed too much to tanning beds, but I have seen in certain cases, in controlled states, not too long in a tanning bed can help a little bit with vitamin D levels as well. So, but again, you just got to be careful when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So.
I probably will skip on the tanning beds, but
it's just everyone's
because I'm brown. Yeah. And our very last metric, number 10, is your emotional regulation, your stress reactivity. I think this is a big thing that's just not just a health thing, but just, I guess, an attitude thing as well, right? It's like being mindful of when you are feeling stressed. Are you someone that is, crashing out on other people? Basically, what it means with all this stuff is your ability to manage your stress, to adapt, and to stay grounded to who you are. Why it matters: chronic stress wrecks so many things: hormones, digestion, sleep. It's some of the worst things that everybody has to probably suffer through and like learn how to deal with. Tracking it, journaling your patterns. I feel like something I do personally is journaling about my mood. Nowadays, like you can like literally log it on an audio thing I have an app on my watch. Literally an Apple app. They'll give me a notification. I can just literally log how I feel. I can do it on my phone. You can journal on a pen and paper. It's just nice to get an understanding of when you feel bad, why are you feeling bad? It will help you in so many other aspects. Like for example, we mentioned food noise in another episode. Just being aware, being mindful. Mindfulness helps a lot. Journaling, meditation is another big thing that I do personally. And just figuring out, sleeping. That's gonna be a huge thing. Like. Your environment will play a big thing. Like let's say like you have, for me, for example, as a student, I have exam season. And if house is being really loud or I'm in a really loud environment, I can't focus, I'm feeling stressed, I need to get some things down, go to a different environment or get some noise cancellation headphones, work around it. So a lot of this stuff is just being pretty proactive on it, as well as being aware and making strategies for yourself. And therapy could help if you feel like you're very high stressed. Reflection, like we mentioned, breath work, and social connection. That's another big thing too, right? It's like, I know a lot of people, we get so busy in our work, in our life and everything, like our social, like, I'm pretty sure you can relate to this too. It's like, you don't have that much time like you did for your friends, right? So having that social connection, going out, getting out of your regular routine and bubble. Yeah. And, it's hard to supplement out of it. It's like, you just have to really work on everything outside, right?
Yeah, and I think the biggest things here, just to mention, to finish it off here, morning cortisol levels, energy, stress, balance markers, gut and stool testing can indicate digestion, inflammation, and microbiome health, skin health, external reflection of internal inflammation and hydration, morning and post-training pulse, measures recovery rate, and cardiovascular. Yeah. So it's just ways of, doing testing or things that are available for these kind of things so that you can be aware what you are doing. And I always say try to do with one first. Okay, try one test, one blood test, one thing. If you want to do a full panel, then you can get all the numbers right away. But again, it depends on also to first the doctor that you have and if they're willing to work on doing these tests. You can also pay for a lot of these as well through a naturopath, but it just really depends on the individual and what route you feel like you're in and what state you're in, and that's going to really reflect on how you're going to go about these tests and see what works best for you at the end of the day. Yeah,
and I feel like for a final takeaway, it's like, you don't have to try everything at all. It can be overwhelming to try focusing on everything at once. Try to add one and see if that's actually changing anything, right? Because if you do everything at once, it's going to be harder to see if everything is like actually leading to the benefits, like what's causing the benefits. So start off slow, just be mindful, be aware, and live a long, happy life.
No, I like it.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to, I always lose track.
53.
53, not 42, 53 of the Northstar podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Peace.